nga candidate ayogera ekigambo n'owulira nga kikukutteko engalo zibeere entonotono tuleme kulikikanga abali ku bwongo olw'abantu twegerereze ensonga
I'm trying.
I'll also be touching base with a couple of themes that I'm sure the moderators will be highlighting as the debate kicks off. But just in case you just joined us right now, 5 presidential candidates will be coming to talk to you, the Ugandan who's supposed to vote for their candidates in 2026. If they work for you, if they convince you well enough, then this would be the time for them to serve you and lead you as their president.
Tegezeddwa Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu amanyiddwa nga Bobi Wine naye okubanga twegattako akaddeko n'okubakati. Basebo ne bajja okwebala nnyo okwebalira ddala nga bwe tulina bakandideti baffe okubanga batuuka njagala okwongera okubategeeza nti debate eno buli avuganya ku ntebe y'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga nga Nation Media Group abatesitesi aba debate eno twamufuukirira era ne baddamu okusaba kwaffe nga bwe bakuddamu. Abo bagenda okulabika olwaleero beebo abakkiriza okubaawo ku debate eno.
So guys, we are live here at Serena Hotel. We are watching the presidential debate. Abakulembeze tebannatuuka nga bwetwogerera ssaawa zino naye nga tubasuubira nga boolaba abantu bonna batudde balinzi. Bw'oba ompulira mpaka like awo oba otekewo ka comment.
Era ensonga lwaki tuli wano nga tutandise debate eno n'essaala okuva ewaseeka tuli mu bufu obwo obw'okusabira eggwanga n'okusabira enteekateekero gye tulimu. Tumaze ebbanga lya myaka 5 nga twetegekera okufuna obukulembeze okugenda okutwala Uganda mu maaso emyaka emirala 5. Uganda eno tuli okugiyita nyaffe Uganda nga bwe nyaffe Uganda yazaala era neeguza n'okulera n'erera. Mu bo be yaleera nekuvaamu abaana 8 abavuddeyo okulaba nga bayingira enteekateekero y'okukulembera bannaabwe. Kakasiza ddala nti buli omu nyaffe Uganda oyo yamukuba akaama era akaama ke yakuba presidential candidate oyo ketugenda okuwulira olwaleero.
That's nice. So we have 8 presidential candidates. 5 will be able to make their presence seen and their voices heard tonight. Unfortunately, we won't be listening from Robert Kasibante. He's the National Peasants Party presidential flag bearer that is in the upcoming 2026 elections. And also, unfortunately, Mubarak Mnyagwa, also who wants to be known as Mugati Bata, also won't be making it tonight, and that is a prominent Uganda politician and also a former member of parliament. He believes we should all eat from the same. That's very important. Yeah, but on the broader spectrum of everything, I think this is going to be a very wonderful debate. The people that have showed up show that they actually want to be Ugandans. Otherwise, if that was not the case, then all of them should have been here. But nonetheless, like my colleague Gatamba said, we'll definitely be looking forward with the presidential candidates that have confirmed their presence.
My since presidential race buli muntu alina enkonko kwali mukutambulira naye buli omu wakyogera owulirira ddala nga ebirowoozo bikulu waliwo abagamba kikukuuma ebyo ebituukiddwako obeerawo n'abasuubiza okuleeta enkyukakyuka abalala bagamba kuleeta Uganda mpya kakati katulimirire abantu kye banasalawo
People out there are the ones who have to make their voice heard and basically exercise their constitutional right of going out there to vote their leader. Go ahead, go for it. I will decide come 15th January 2026. That's when I'm going to be making my decision. But I would implore all Ugandans, of course, to turn up and make their voice heard. This is a constitutional right. No one is doing you a favor. You're there to vote for Uganda, to make home a better place. The Ugandan. They will be telling you the one particular problem they have found that cuts across the east of Uganda, the west of Uganda, north of Uganda, south of Uganda, and central of Uganda. A problem that unites all of us 45.9 million Ugandans. And what is their solution? Should you trust them with your vote and give them the mandate to lead you as their leader and president come 2026? That is what we want to scrutinize this evening.
Doctor.
Yes, sir.
So now to you.
We will, as my brother always says. But what we're looking forward to is a very candid conversation, honesty, and promises easy to make, and you fail short. Not speak of someone who was once a novelist and wrote very candidly about some things, but he failed to deliver. We want to see what our five people here have to promise Ugandans and whether or not they can deliver on those promises.
Allow me to interrogate the doctor here. What would be the definition of a promise? Because we have seen different people, different communities saying that promises were made and failed.
Well, usually when someone has no quick retort, they say that that's relative. And what I could say is that could also be very relative if you've been around long enough and you fail to deliver time and again. That also hits very hard.
And as people watching this presidential debate, what should they use as their measure for a promise to be kept?
Well, the answer to that is quite simple. If you go through manifestos over time and you do see a regurgitation of something being said over and over and over again, then you have your answer already. So some of the candidates here that we're going to see have put out manifestos in the past. Some parties have been around for some election cycles, and it is time for us to interrogate. Are you copying and pasting the same message that you had 5 years ago and putting it forth to us this time around?
All right. We do have our social media platforms that are equally running with engagement and poll questions. Please feel free to actually reach out with your voice. Your voice matters in this presidential debate because you are the Ugandan that they are talking to tonight. The hashtag is NTV Presidential Debate 2025 across all our social media platforms, NTV Uganda and Spark TV. Please also be reminded that we are streaming live on our website www.ntv.co.ug.
Presidential candidates Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu naye amaze okutuuka kakati akadde konna tugenda kubanga tuyingira mu debate yaffe naye nga tetunaba kuyingira mu debate eyo. Dokita, mu advert badde tambula nga eraga debate eno tegenda kubeerayo, waliwo ekigambo kye wakozesa, not slogans. Simple wali otegeeza ki, but it's just ideas. So tumenyere not slogans but ideas. Simple wali otegeeza ki.
Kizange ngero Uganda waliwo abantu bangi abalowooza simanyi Uganda naye omusajja Muganda wawu bwe weetegereza okulonda okwensi gye bayita United States of America bwe baafuna obwetuze buyita independence in 1776. That was a while back from the British. Something interesting happened. Fast forward to the Ronald Reagan time. And something that was fascinating was Ronald Reagan came up with a slogan for his campaign. And when he came up with this slogan, it was Make America Great. Does that sound familiar? Because someone used the same slogan in 2016.
So Kati, we are waiting for the presidential candidates okuyingira bagambye ne Bobi Wine
we
atuuze.
have to go with slogan here.
Kakati tugenda balaba nga bayingira nga bayita wano.
With Margaret, just because you don't have a long enough memory to remember that there's a man who was once an actor, turned governor of California, turned presidential candidate, and won the election.
Oh, the same Arnold.
Mukadde kano twanirize avuganya kuba president Frank Buliira Kabinga amaze okutuuka. Frank Buliira Kabinga ono yakwatidde ekibiina ki Revolutionary People's Party RPP. Buli oyo atuuka agenda obutereevu bw'ekimulondo okuvaayo obutereevu wali waggulu. Ku Baganda betuyita akatuuti ab'Olungereza bakayita podium. Omukulu yatuuka ebyobufuzi teyakabiyingira, yabitandika ebbanga ddene emabega era nga yaliko mu kibiina ky'abaana DP abaali abavubuka KYD, ate gyeyava eyeegatta ku Dr. Abre Kiyingi mu Uganda Young Democrats, gyeyava n'alyoka yeegatta ku kibiina kino ekya RPP mwaze okukanyiza ku ntebe ey'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Tukwegaliza omwaniriza.
So Frank Buliira Kabinga is a Ugandan politician and also the presidential candidate for the Revolutionary People's Party in the 2026 general elections. Up next, the other contender that will be joining us tonight is Honorable Nangula Mafadi. He is currently the opposition figure leading the Front for Democratic Change and is their flag bearer for the 2026 general elections. Please welcome Nathan Mafadi.
Batende okwaniriza omukulu ng'atuuka era nga tansana naddala Mafaabi naye ebyobufuzi yakabitandika ddala mwaka ogwa 2021 gy'abadde nga omubaka wa paalamenti okutuukira ddala olwaleero ng'avuganya ku ntebe y'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Omukulu yakolako URA era akoze emirimu mingi nnyo okutuuka w'atuusaawo. Ssebo tukwaniriza era tulindiridde okuwuliriza ebirowoozo byogenda okutuwa. Mutwale butereevu katuuti dokita n'amusuubizaawo ebibuuzo.
And just to highlight his education, his level education, he attended Busoga College, Mary Jinja. He also graduated from Bakari University in 1988 with a Bachelor of Statistics and Economics. He also followed that with a postgraduate diploma in education, and that was in 1989. And also, that was from Bakari. He also obtained a diploma in income tax administration, and that was from the Uganda Management Institute in Kampala. In 1993, he passed the Certified Public Accountant examinations, and that was both in Uganda and Kenya as well. Currently, like we said, he is the presidential flag bearer for the Front for Democratic Change.
Basobole banyabo twanirize General Mugisha Muntu na NTV twaniriza ku debate yaffe eno etegekeddwa aba Nation Media Group ekitongole ekitwala NTV, Spark TV, olupapula lw'amawulire olwa Daily Monitor, radio kuli Dembe FM, Sakole KFM. Oyo omukulu oyo yadumirako n'amagye g'eggwanga era y'okukuba Nansiko abeetawo obutereevu mu lutalo olw'abatunuzi abaleta gavumenti ya NRM obuyinza. Ssebo tukwaniriza.
Mugisha Muntu was officially nominated on September 24th, 2025, and is also known for his calm, values-based political approach. And his focus has always been on addressing governance issues. He has also criticized the current government for its failure to convert the country's wealth into prosperity. That is the retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. Thank you for joining us.
Elton Joseph Mabilizi naye amaze okutuuka era ngo yavuganyako ne mu kalulu ka 2016 obulwakakiso k'ebyokulonda kebawa abafuna omukisa n'abutubuulira naye Ssebo tukwaniriza ku debate etegekeddwa aba Nation Media Group era tulindiridde okulaba ebirowoozo byo ekiro ky'olwaleero.
Elton Joseph Mabilizi is the presidential candidate for the Conservative Party, and that is in the upcoming 2026 general elections. Just like my colleague said, this is his second time contesting as president. new to these things. I'm still very much around, by the way. I remember he's mentioning as Mabreezy, and I think it's a cool name. We like presidential candidates that are actually relatable.
Oh,
Yeah.
which class were you?
2016, I was already at campus. I was already doing my university degree.
I think I stopped there. Now
I'm old enough.
tulendirira mukulu Joseph Elton Mabirizi okuba nga naye yayingira atwale ekifo kye okutongera okweteekateeka.
All right, as we wait for Joseph Elton Mabirizi to come through, the other contender that's going to be joining us tonight is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He's also known as Bobi Wine. He's a politician. He's also the president of the National Unity Platform. A former musician, he's an actor, he's a businessman, and he transitioned to politics and gained prominence as a critic of the president, that is Yoweri Museveni.
Kuno kwetuleeta yaliko omuyimbi ebisera byabeerera omuyimbi yayitibwanga Kyagulanyi Ssentamu yayitibwanga Ghetto President. Simanyi oba ekifo kye naye tujja kuba nga tutegeezebwa tumabirizi naye atuuse. So, Elton Joseph Mabirizi, presidential candidate for Conservative Party, civil tukwaniriza wedensi yakulindiridde ate olina ekyafaayo ekyobudde abalungu b'enkuta mugamba abamu bali batandisa okweraliikira.
That is Elton Joseph Mabirizi, the presidential candidate for the Conservative Party in the 2026 elections. He's doing it again as he's also joined by the party chairman, John Kyagulanyi, and a nice delegation. Conservative Party is in the house, officially. The man. All right, the Conservative Party is in the house. And now let's move forward to our final candidate of the night. That is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He is the presidential flag bearer for the 2026 general elections on the ticket of. Please join us and welcome Honorable Kyagulanyi.
Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu watuuka kubategeezeza yaliko omusaawe ekyokuyimba era nakakyakiri nyimba empya zitajja nnyingi nnyo tutera okuziwulira weewaawo tezizajjika mu jjimbi namusonyiwa muyinza okuzitubanja.
But his political journey actually started in 2017 to 2021 when he represented Kyagulanyi County East, that is in the Parliament of Uganda. There were some things that happened there, so we won't dwell on that. All we know is that he leads the People Power, the Power movement, and has been a major opposition force. And he also ran for president in 2021, and he's here to do it again next year.
Tulize Kyagulanyi Ssentamu atambula n'omulamwa ogw'okugamba nti aleeta Uganda empya n'ekkooti y'abantu ebyo bibimu ku bigambo byasinga okutambulira naye abamuleeta oba bamulaze ekkubo kyangu nga batafaayo. Tuyinza okwogera ebingi ne tuwokya. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu abasinga omungi temumanyiga Bobi Wine, president w'ekibiina National Unity Platform. Amukulembedde ye Bill asoma amawulire ga NTV Weekend Edition.
Our final contender walking in right now, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, is the president of the National Unity Platform. Doing this for the second time.
Abakulu nga bamaze okutuuka mu kadde kano tugenda kuwaayo obudde bwonna bwe tulina okulaba nga tuwa moderators baffe akadde batandike session yaffe ey'okubaganya ebirowoozo. Twakutegeezezza nti abamu kwaba bagenda okukulembera mu kulwa NTV presidential candidates banagala tubabatulire basobole okubategeera obulungi. Abagenda okuleetera ku debate eno ku NTV tulinako Priscilla Regina Naluoga abamu ku mmwe abalinawo ku podium yali abakyazizzaako ye presenter wa program ya Morning at NTV. Program ebeerawo olunaku okuva ku Monday paka ku lunaku olwokutaano. Priscilla Regina Naluoga bannamawulire abavunidde obulungi omulimu guno.
And seated next to her is unmissable. He is a doctor, a monetarist, and a central bank scholar as well. He has also been in the newsroom for quite some time, so he's well versed on that field as well. He's going to be our moderator as well for the presidential debate as we gear up for the 2026 elections.
Presidential candidate Serena Hotel ze aliwalo katamba akati atuwaweyo ibannaffe banene ababeeko bakulembera mu debate batende prefer.
Over to you, Arnold and Priscilla.
Good evening, Uganda, and to all watching us across the world. It is 8:34 in Kampala and midday 34 in Washington, D.C. There are very many people who are eager to hear, especially in the diaspora, what all of you have to offer us as presidential candidates, and we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Tonight, live from Kampala, NTV and Spark TV bring you a defining moment in our nation's democratic journey. The NTV Presidential Debate 2025, the race for 2026. I'm Dr. Arnold Segawa, together with Priscilla Regina Naluoga.
Good evening to you, Uganda, and good evening to you, our candidates. Our candidates, how are you? Pressure. Let's turn on those microphones and just hear your voices so that we know you're the one. I will start with the general. General, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
We are fine.
You are fine.
Just fine.
Ah, that's wonderful to hear. A round of applause for you. Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi.
Mic check 1, 2.
One, two, check. It's a pleasure to have you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, our dear moderators. Good evening, fellow candidates.
All right. We also do have Honorable Nanda Mafabi. Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
It's a pleasure to be here. A round of applause for you. We also do have the researchers from Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening to all of us.
How are you? A pleasure to be forward to you. That's wonderful to hear. If they're confident, then Uganda should be confident about the next hours to come. And finally, we also do have candidates from Serena. Good evening to you, sir.
Dear Ugandans, and thank you so much, NTV, for this arrangement.
And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming through. These are the 5 candidates, one stage, and of course, one country that is watching. Tonight is about ideas, tonight is about vision, as well as leadership, unfiltered, uncompromising, as well as decisive.
Gentlemen, if you may, some ID issues. When you're done speaking through your microphone, kindly switch it off, otherwise we will have feedback. And moving on, the focus tonight is on issues that are shaping the future of this nation. We have infrastructure, ICT and innovation, finance and national development, not forgetting health.
And as duly introduced, our 5 candidates are ready and they've shown us that they're ready to go. There are 5 voices, however, you and I make up one electorate. Every answer tonight is going to be counting and every commitment is going to be measured.
Joining us tonight on the stage, you have Frank Bulira. We're going in alphabetical order from your surname on my extreme right, Mr. Frank Bulira, thank you. Mr. Candidate Joseph Mabilizi, thank you. Candidate Nathan Nanda Mafabi. In the middle, we have candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, and last but not least, on my extreme left, candidate, Mugisha Muntu.
Well, tonight marks a very defining moment in our national conversation. Ugandans from across the country, ever since we began this live broadcast, have been talking to us, and they have been telling us some of the things they would like their candidates to actually pinpoint about. And of course, this has been building up to this coverage from our correspondents in NTV to Northern Uganda to Mbarara to the voices of everyday Muna Uganda, each one of them sharing what they are expecting of you, our candidates, as you get to address them as a nation. Now, a short while ago, we were introduced to the 5 candidates joining us today, and we get to regret that 3 candidates were unable to join us on this stage tonight, with a hope that all 8 will be present at future debates.
Tonight, we will be looking at 5 themes, that is youth unemployment and jobs. 2 is security, governance and justice. 3, technology and the future of work. 4, infrastructure development and the health sector. And 5, finance and economic development.
And as the One Presidential Debate does say it, each candidate has 4 minutes for your introduction. Each candidate has 4 minutes and 30 seconds allowed to close your submission to every address under everything that we're going to be discussing tonight. And 1 minute will be awarded to you, and maybe 45 seconds to give your closing remarks when is done and dusted. There will be a 7-minute commercial break after the second theme, and these themes were all selected based on months and months of public engagement. Thousands of Ugandans having submitted their priorities and questions. This is through the community forums, digital platforms, and of course the regional outreach. However, the final selections, the structure, and sequencing for tonight were made independently of the debate team. So as per the debate rules, neither the candidate that you see on the podium this evening, nor anyone on the team have reviewed or influenced these questions.
Without any further ado, let us begin. And this is going to be very brief. In 4 minutes, tell Ugandans why you're the best candidate and to take this big job of being the president, not just having the fancy office. While you're at it, also tell Ugandans what the biggest problem is with the country. Let me start with you, Mr. Polira. 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. Dear Ugandans, my name is Bulira Frank Kabinga Sarungo. I'm the presidential flag bearer for the Revolutionary People's Party, a party which merged with the Uganda Federal Democratic Organization, which was led by the late Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi. I'm here in the footsteps of the late fighter Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi, in the footsteps of our forefathers who fought for federalism, the Nkwangas, the Andrew Takome Kayiyas, the Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogeneres, the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye. I'm in this not just to contest ceremoniously. I'm here to contest and deliver our opposition to State House. It has been a process of over 4 decades, and I think this coming election is going to close up each and everything. This is the time that we need to shape our country. There are only 2 big problems of our country, Uganda. Number 1 problem is Mr. Museveni. The second problem is the system of governance. That is why, as the Revolutionary People's Party, we are looking at federalism. Federalism is the way to go, and it is our core. The RPP, we believe that even if Mr. Museveni goes and we have another president, and we don't change the system of governance, we shall remain in the same problems. In my first 100 days, that's why I pledge that Uganda is going to go federalism. Bulira Frank Kabinga, I was groomed by the Ugandan Democrats. I started my politics in Kasubi Church of Uganda Primary School way back during the CA times. I joined Ugandan Democrats in the second generation, after the Dr. Rurume's first generation of UID, the Mabikes. I was part of the second generation, and I was the spokesperson of the Ugandan Democrats under the leadership of Susan Abo by then. Then I was the students leader for Ugandan Democrats until I joined Dr. Chiyingi. I joined Dr. Chiyingi purposely because I wanted to remove Mr. Museveni, period. I didn't want to overstay in the opposition. You all much well know that Dr. Chiyingi was standing in the true path of changing this country. In fact, if Dr. Chiyingi or Dr. Besigye had been in this race, I wouldn't have contested. Because they are the only two people who had solutions to changing this government, who were focused on removing Mr. Museveni and with realistic solutions. We have done enough politicking, and it is now time to remove Mr. Museveni. That is why I also argue my fellow candidates, my fellow contestants, if they are really genuinely looking at removing Mr. Museveni first, to join me and we remove Mr. Museveni. We shall sort other issues regarding parties and our aspirations after removing Mr. Museveni after 15th January. So I'm here, dear Ugandans, presenting myself as your next president come 2026. My campaign was derailed. As you know, Dr. Chiyingi, he was living miles away from Uganda, but he was the most feared man. Mr. Museveni feared Dr. Chiyingi more than opposition leaders sleeping in Kampala and Wakiso. You know that.
It's a debate, Mr. Frank Bolira, your time is up, 4 minutes, but since you want to remove Mr. Museveni, then I ask that you move from your seat and come sit next to these two gentlemen, in between these two gentlemen, who have also rightly said that they're doing the same thing. Please stand up and come and sit in between the general and the one who's promising in Uganda.
Go on, number one.
It is okay, we shall decide on 15. Thank you very much. Each candidate being reminded you have 4 minutes for your introduction. And now we move to the second candidate, candidate Joseph Mamirizi.
Good evening once again. My name is Elton Joseph Mamirizi Salomo from Conservative Party, the party which has outlived generations. In CP, we have the uniqueness that we stand for. Number one is about the governance, which requires fabrication to come up with something new which can fit in the generation we live in. We stand for regional governments, and when we talk about regional governments, many people will ask, what do you mean exactly? We have 16 regions of Uganda, and those 16 regions must have small governments where they share power with the central government. Uganda is like a sinking boat in an ocean. Without coming up with regional governments, we would have done nothing, even if we elect any other leader. So regional governments, this is where power is shared, resources, responsibilities are shared with the central government. And when you come up with such a government, you would have dealt away with so many problems of Uganda that we are facing today. For example, the problem we are facing where all authority belongs to one person, where security is just in central government, where taxes are collected and just go into a small group of people to govern that. So there is a great need to institute regional governments to ease service delivery, at the same time creating a lot of jobs, which is a problem that we are facing today. But also working on the system of education that we are having in Uganda, which does not help parents, it doesn't help the bright ones, the learners, it doesn't help even the government. The first graduates, it is the government. But when they finish, you find that there are no jobs, which has created a lot of dependence. People are working a very few.
Thank you for that, sir. On to you, Mr. Mafabi.
My name is Nathan Mandara Mafabi. I came in this election. I come from Forum for Democratic Change. Our theme is fixing the economy and the money in our pockets. The current problem in Uganda is threefold: corruption, that's greed, poverty, injustice. I have worked in the whole country. You discover poor mothers, poor fathers, who are selling tomatoes, oranges. They cannot even make enough to go to school. Out of 10 children who go in primary school, only 2 reach B7. That means there's 80% dropout. You go to the health center, they will refer you, go out for medical attention, go and buy medicine, go for a scan, and those are the main things which bring us in this election. But what's the problem? We have been around for 40 years. We have been talking about peace, 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 and I don't think Ugandans can now get peace because the peace is there. What we need is people to have jobs. And when they have jobs, they will earn a living. We look forward to investing in agriculture. We look forward to investing in education. We look forward to investing in health sector. We look forward to investing in infrastructure. I come with experience because I have studied all those. I come with experience in economy, in accounting, in taxation, in knowing poverty, how it's painful. I have worked. Unfortunately, you mentioned only maybe you are but I was in mutual finance. I worked for one bank. I have advised many governments and I've come out of poverty. So I am coming here with experience to help Uganda move forward. I come as an employee. I want to be a servant, serve you with all my energy to ensure that people of Uganda can have the 3 meals which are designated in our lives. I am aware that we are 8 candidates, but each of us has his own manifesto. Our manifesto is very clear, it's spelling out what is supposed to be done. We want to create jobs. 60% of the youth are unemployed. 84 people live on 14. This is the daily and this is the biggest situation we are having in our country. You get people are walking on the streets from morning to evening, looking for what to do, what to eat, and this is causing a lot of problems in our country. In fact, the next time bomb is from the unemployment of the youth. Currently, our economy is structured in such a way that the service sector, which is contributing about 50%, is externalized. That's the telecom, that's the financial sector, and even the industrial part is belonging to the foreigners. Local Ugandans themselves, who live on an agrarian economy, which contributes almost 80% of our livelihood, are only having a 23.8 GDP contribution, meaning that our people are living as slaves in their country. This is what we need to resolve, and it's urgent, and it needs somebody with experience in that area. In my life, I've been in Parliament for 25 years. I have been there, justice. I've been advocating for, because there's a lot of social justice, I have been advocating for this issue to do with poverty alleviation. Every election, we see a different thing that they are doing. In 1996, they brought Italiko. In 2001, they brought the President. In 2006, they brought Mandela. In 2011, they brought Prosperous for all. In 2021, they brought operational expression. Now, in 2026, if they were really aiming to remove poverty, and they have not done, it means it's total failure in the government. Our government lacks transparency, management, and the corruption is at the thing.
Thank you for your submission, sir. Let's move on to candidate Robert Johnson.
Thank you very much, dear distinguished moderators, honorable colleagues with whom I'm running for the noble responsibility of leading our nation, ladies and gentlemen present here, and those watching us from afar. I am humbled to be here contesting to lead our country, and it's great pleasure and honor to be representing the common people of our country. As a person who comes from the ghetto and rose to represent the nation at the highest level, I cannot take any further pride than that. But also, I am aware that we are in a nation that is at crossroads. We had independence 63 years ago, and 40 covered by one man who has reduced our country to a failed state. Absolutely, it is clear to all and sundry that this nation, which is primarily young, has clearly made a decision only that they have been stifled. I am aware that I will be taking over a nation where 1.5 babies are born every year, taking over a nation where almost half of the budget goes to servicing debt, taking over a nation that is deeply divided, but committed and ready to unite this, our country, which we've already started doing. What we promise is a new Uganda which is going to be set. Our country has completely been messed, and it needs to start afresh. Every institution has been captured, and we intend to start where people are going to be servants, where citizens of Uganda should take over power to decide the destiny of their lives. As we stand right now, the people of Uganda don't have a vote, they don't have a voice, and they don't have power over their nation. The state has been captured completely, and we hope to liberate not just the citizens, but also those that are leading the country. On the downside, I have really hoped to meet General Museveni here, so I could publicly face him and hear what more lies he has to tell us after 40 years. To hear from him straight the gains he's protecting. Is he protecting the potholes? Is he protecting the broken hospitals? Is he protecting the broken down schools, the broken down infrastructure? Is he protecting his power and right to torture citizens? I have always wanted to hear that, not privately, but publicly from General Museveni. Anyway, it's all right that he's not here because he's in the past and we are discussing the future of our country. I'm very glad and I hope to share ideas and to teach and learn from these our colleagues. But of course, I must assert it that the people of Uganda, especially the young generation, the new generation that I largely represent, is committed to changing their country and to taking back the right to determine their destiny. I am ready and committed to lead the charge to change Uganda, so help us the Almighty God.
For the evening, with your introduction and why Uganda should believe in your cause.
Thank you, dear moderators. Let me take this opportunity again to thank all Ugandan citizens who are seated in this room and those who are watching us. I'm called Mugisha Muntu. I hold the flag for Alliance for National Transformation, whose mantra is values-driven leadership. When the peace race very knowing the state of our country, for 63 years we've been in a vicious cycle. John Muslim being the 9th president, regime after regime, promises are made, promises are never fulfilled. And we reached a point where we believe that there must be something up there that causes leaders to get up there in spite of the promises that they do make. What makes them drunk to the point where they lose direction, they don't fulfill promises, they trample on citizens, and unfortunately at this point in time I've not even had the experience where one leader hands over power to another. That's sad. Some of us had hoped that we see the breaking out of that vicious cycle. Where we're heading, we are not so sure whether that will be or not. We keep on struggling. We hope that we'll see that at some point. We've been moving around the country now for about 2 months. The state of our people is quite frightening. Joblessness, the levels of joblessness of the youth, the depth of poverty that you read on the faces of the people, and even what they express. The lack of drugs in hospitals, government hospitals, and very well knowing that there are those who can't afford to go to private hospitals, which means they can't afford the bills, which means that most people just go home to die. That's been going on for quite a while. In the area of joblessness, even the few jobs which are viable, not only at the national level, but even at the local government level, because I've so far gone through 74 districts. And I made it a point to ask everywhere we go whether there are transparent systems of getting jobs. And the response has been uniform throughout. I've not been to any district where I've got a response that you can go and interview, and when you succeed, or you are the best, that you can get a job. Unless you know someone, unless you pay a bribe. That's quite frightening, that government jobs can be sold. So the people out there who still believe that General 7 should continue, I've been urging them on the campaign trail. But considering that state of affairs and the frightening levels of corruption in this country, we lose 10 trillion Uganda shillings, that's about 2.7 billion United States dollars every year, that they should reconsider. General 7 should just simply be retired peacefully on 15th of January. And I've been urging them to look amongst the 7 of us and select one who can lead this country from the vicious circle in which it is, the mess in which, at which we are, also considering the levels of the fighting levels of debt, that they look for a capable person, and I always protect myself.
All right.
Because of
Thank you so much, Mugisha Muntu. 5 candidates We do also have 5 themes for the presidential debate. Please be reminded we are streaming across our social media platforms on Facebook as well as X, as well as TikTok. So share the link with the rest of Uganda. Equally on our website, www.ntv.co.ug, we are having the presidential debate live on NTV as well as Spark TV. As we start, number 1, youth unemployment and the jobs or the economic reset. I'm going to start with candidate Frank Mulira. Just to shape the narrative, candidate, Uganda has a very young population, as according to the UPO statistics from the population census having been conducted in 2024, more than 73% of citizens being under the age of 30, including about 14 million people aged between 15 and 30, marking about 31%. And then you look at the latest labor data also showing us that only about 37% of these young people are actually employed. About 16% of them are choosing or are able to stay in school, and roughly 40 to 42% are neither in employment, we cannot trust them in education, neither can we pin them in training. Youth unemployment is standing currently at 16.3% compared to the 11.7%. The female perspective there, the youth unemployment is also higher at 20%. The figures do go on, but each year about 700,000 people do enter the labor market, but only about 34% of that figure is actually absorbed in jobs. Candidate Frank Mulira, given these realities, what concrete measures beyond the national employment strategy, beyond the national development plan that we're currently running as a country, will you implement in your first 3 years? 1, to raise job absorption well above 34%. 2, cut the youth need rate by at least 10%. And then 3, to ensure that the additional jobs being created are decent, they are formal, and are creating opportunities rather than incurring a lot of pressure on the informal sector.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, sure, poverty is everywhere, but our case as Uganda is so worrying. Just as I say, we can speak a lot, but the biggest problem is the system of governance. Those are the 2 biggest problems, bringing about youth unemployment, growing at the fastest rate, and people losing hope in their country and in the future. As the Revolutionary People's Party, under the new federal regime, remember, after 15th January next year, in the next 2 weeks, Uganda will be announced as the new Federal Democratic Republic, governed under the 16 federal states, taking charge of their wealth. The Revolutionary People's Party is going to take the jobs closer to the people, where they stay. Gone are the days when everyone has to come to Kampala looking for jobs. People going to kneel before Mr. Museveni to get survival, including ministers. Public servants, you have to meet Mr. Museveni in order to survive, in order for your child to be given a bursary. The federal arrangement is going to take back the jobs in the areas, the 16 proposed federal states making up Uganda. First of all, we are going to introduce the Federal Economic Empowerment Program. The Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to replace these federal Dibonabagagawares, parish development models, which are just enriching NRM cadres and other DCs, swindling taxpayers' money, the operational welfare creations, just helping soldiers to build more mansions and build their kids. They are all going to be scrapped, and the Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to look at the Ugandans in Sebei are going to be placed in the cement factories, where you even have truck drivers who are Chinese in Kasarani and Kapchora.
Mr. Mulira, can you name one country that's operating on a federal system?
UAE, Germany,
Which ones of those are over, just under 63 years?
God said about UAE and its background. There was a time when Uganda was far ahead of UAE. You remember that one time Idi Amin Dada gave food aid to UAE when the current president was the father of the current Sheikh Al Maktoum. He gave UAE food aid, plus the little soil UAE has. It was taken from here and mixed with the sun. UAE, every tree in UAE and grass has to be irrigated in order to live for a day.
I worry.
But it is the capital city of the world right now. Uganda would be so far better if we had gone federal.
I worry you might not know that much about federalism, because the best example,
according to you,
the United States of America, which is operating on a federal system. Mm-hmm. From the federal system, you go down to the state system, mm-hmm. Then from the state system, you go down to municipals. Mm-hmm. So I worry that you want to implement something that you're not very savvy with.
That is according to you.
No, this is the biggest economy in the world. So if you give an example, at least let's go with one that has.
I give the example of UAE because it's the country I know most. The king of Dubai is my good friend Sheikh Al Maktoum, and the president of UAE, Sheikh Nayan. So it is a live example. My second home is in UAE. I've admired a lot from UAE under their arrangement, whereby you don't need to go to Sharjah when you are in Abu Dhabi to get a service. Everything is in a different, is well catered for in a particular federal state or province. Provinces are competing. When Abu Dhabi builds a big skyscraper, Dubai will bring Burj Khalifa. When Al Ain does this, in the end, the country ends up developing. In Nigeria, you don't need to go to, if you are in Lagos, you are contented. You don't need to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Kumas. So,
Kumasi is in Ghana. You have run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Bulira. As you can imagine, it is going to be a very heated conversation. And if I do jump in, my credentials might permit me to do that. On to the next candidate. Let's look at Mr. Joseph Kandilizi. Quick question, Mr. Kandilizi. Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration? Would you kindly switch on your mic? Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration?
So many declarations has been done.
That is a yes or no question.
So which one do you mean exactly?
Malabo Declaration, Africa Union. Are you familiar with the Abuja Declaration?
Which one in particular? Because several people, there are several which have been done.
I wouldn't want
You're
to
talking about the climate one, you're talking about which one are you talking about?
Okay, let's talk about agriculture. Declaration was made where 10% of revenues going through this fiscal plan when it comes to spending of any nation that is privy to the African Union, spends 10% of their revenue on agriculture. As you can imagine, Uganda does not do that. That being said, what will you do in your first few months as president of Uganda to fix that?
We have a very big plan about agriculture and infrastructure, where we want to encourage much of small-scale industry, where people can use simple machines in agriculture.
Like horse?
When I talk about simple machines, I know even a hoe falls under that, but there are other machines which are not big tractors, and those ones which are operated just with small engines. There are those ones which are operated manually, you just push them. So there are so many. So I'm not talking about only a hoe.
I'm very confused. Are we talking about combine harvesters? Are we talking John Deere? Are we talking, I'm very confused, going back to plowing with oxen? Which one is it? Give me something concrete.
They are tractors, but now I'm talking about the simple machines which use these simple engines, which are affordable. They don't consume a lot of fuel, and they are being used in Malaysia. So you can use Malaysia, because for me that's where I saw them. So that's what I'm talking about, that once we trade that and bring it into our nation, we will have helped a lot in agriculture.
But you're addressing something different, because what this declaration say is to have 10% of your GDP.
I understand your question. Give me time to answer.
Please, go ahead.
If you want me to answer your way, then it's something else.
Please proceed.
I have my way, and I can pass either way to answer. So you want me to give the answer what you have? I have my own answer. So, I told the person who contacted me that let me hope you are taking me into a debate, not something like questioning you, then you answer this, someone asks another question to take you off. So, what I was saying, there is a need to get that into that modernization agriculture, where we need to import simple machines to empower agriculture sector from the regions. And once you've empowered all the regions, having shared the power, responsibility, where the regions, they are also responsible for collecting taxes, and after collection of taxes, they only give 40% to the central government. Then 60% remains in the region. So the regional governments, they are responsible to institute and put into practice what fits their region according to agriculture. So it will be the responsibility of the regions sitting and deciding. Even what the declaration aimed at may be less. Each region will decide according to the need of that region. That's what we call shared power. It's not about only one person dictating that things should move in this direction or the other direction. That will be the responsibility of the regional governments.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, as we dig on, be reminded that our first theme of the night is youth unemployment and economic reset. This is where we'd like to Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, one who has quite a large youth following. These are young boys and girls who need technical skills that are primarily scarce in our country. Right now, we look to training, we look to education, vocational education, and we also look to tertiary education that is still by and large weak. And also the digital economy is leaving so many people behind. From what you have seen in the many days you have been all over this country, if you were to become president, what immediate reforms will you use to drive an overhaul in Tibet, and then also build real digital skills and ensure that the young person you have been meeting on this campaign trail is actually not locked out of the future?
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you mentioned that indeed we've been traveling all over the country. For me, this is more realistic than idealistic. These are not just statistics. These are realities. These are people who've been there, and in every urban town we've reached, you've seen hundreds of young people that show up, that are desperate they're strong, they're talented, they want to work, but these are young people that have been failed by a system. It should be noted that Uganda is ranked the most entrepreneurial country in Africa. However, the young people are being failed because 70% of the small businesses that are started do not live to come. They are failed because of high taxes, they are failed because of the cost of money, high interest rates, they are failed because of high electricity rates, they are failed because of high transportation. This comes because of the broken down transport infrastructure. As a national unity platform in NTV Uganda, we have a plan of establishing 10 million jobs. From here, we're going to do this by leveraging the tourism sector. As you know, Uganda is immensely gifted. We're going to leverage the manufacturing sector, and most importantly, the creative industry. Now, having come from the creative industry, I know the potential of the creative industry. Uganda is equally as talented as Nigeria, or even more talented. But looking at the Nigeria's creative industry, it is almost outcompeting the oil industry. In fact, they call it the new oil because it is largely seen as even more engaging and more incorporating of young people, of the ordinary citizen, than the oil sector. Now, our plan is as follows. First, we want to empower and support the small, medium enterprises and the cottage industries. Now, for the benefit of our voters out there, cottage industries are the small scale industries, mainly in homesteads that are majoring in production. These, we must understand, looking at the growing economies of the world, these have been the unsung heroes of these growing economies. China, India, Brazil, name it. So, looking at these examples, we think it can be a benefit in Uganda. I'm looking at areas, especially these that are near borders, like Arua, like Kisoro, like Kabale. If they are supported, they boost even production, and they could even boost export by looking at production of textiles.
When you say supported, what does that mean?
Supported means cutting down, reducing the cost of doing business, reducing the power costs, reducing the cost of money, reducing the interest rates, investing in transport infrastructure. This would make it easier for them and it would boost them. Also, it's important to mention that in this line, we want to boost production. In our manifesto, we presented our school feeding program where the government is going to be feeding children at school. Now, the people that are going to be supplying these foodstuffs are going to be the ordinary citizens. And in the new Uganda, the government will work with the Parent Teachers Association, the PTA, to ensure that they identify not only the most vulnerable, but also the most trusted and competent suppliers, the eggs, the wheat, the rice, the flour, to feed the children. This way, we're going to be able to support even the small producers, the women, and the ordinary people out there. We believe that this is not only going to boost education, but it's going to help in youth unemployment. We also intend to modernize our skills development.
Your time is spent, but I'm going to allow you. You have made recognition of manufacturing and tourism. These are high level in terms of strategic for any presidential candidate. Leaders have been describing it as Uganda's economic growth. However, there's one structural problem that still hinders both sectors right now, and that is unreliable power supply and high electricity costs. What's your solution?
Well, the high electricity costs can be renegotiated as government. We can go as far as renegotiating with Mugisha to ensure that the power comes down, because that is what is going to help the productivity. There's one thing, if you will allow me also to talk about, that's the exploitation. The current government prides in youth employment, where mainly the industries that are owned by foreigners actually exploit the citizens to an extent that young Ugandans are paid as low as 3,500 shillings a day. Now, I was in Parliament in 2019 and we passed the minimum wage bill. Unfortunately, General Museveni refused to sign it. Now, we are going to reintroduce it in a new Uganda and I will sign it.
Thank you for that. Let's move on to candidates. And I've been going through your manifesto, which is quite fast. There's something that you mentioned, cooperative-led agro-industrialization. You're familiar with that. And here you do target tea fertilizers at 30%. Explain to me how this sizzles into working on the youth unemployment problem in the country.
The youth we have currently, for giving an example, some of them are living in schools, or they have been dropped out of school, but they don't have land. They cannot be able to own the land. But agriculture employs about 80% of the Ugandans. Now, as a government, we should be a serious government, should ensure that Ugandans are employed. We're looking at skilling the youth and skill them in what you have. For example, skill them in agriculture, skill them in construction, skill them even in ICT. Now, if you skill them in agriculture, that means you are trying to modernize agriculture. And if you're going to modernize agriculture, then this youth will be employed in those sectors. I can tell you agriculture can go ahead to employ the biggest number of people. What you don't do there, you produce what we call agro-processing. And if you go for agro-processing, those are industries, and related industries. And when you bring agro-processing, the youth who have studied or who have not even unskilled ones, but you can skill them, who go and work in agro-processing. And that's creating jobs. And I can assure you the biggest point now where we can create jobs currently is in agro-processing, in agriculture. And Uganda has an advantage, as I said, God has given us the best way. You can do anything. Now, for example, here we have 4 cash crops, and the cash crop made where we used to get cash. That is coffee, cotton, tea, and tobacco. And the cotton you are raising, it is called, the cotton is called white gold. Now, what does that we talked about tea? The tea is called magnetic money. Now, the tea, you see, right now as we speak, the soils which have been growing tea have been taken to do other things. But while we're talking about fertilizers, you need to use that land to grow more tea. And currently, even the tea which they are growing, there's a lot of debt which are not paid farmers. And farmers are getting discouraged. A good government should not make farmers get discouraged. What should be there should be a mechanism whereby if there's overproduction, you have stores, that is called silos. You must be the one to be the catalyst leading the marketing processes. You must be the one even trying to call it better industries, whereby you can create an industry and none of them. I'll give an example. I did it here. Total Uganda, which was a state and international policy, they came with a policy of saying younger dealers. What they did, they would give a young man or young lady registration plan, and they would give him fuel plan of registration. They would be deducting the margins by leaving. Give him a period of about 3 years, they say you must exit, so that they bring another new dealer. And the purpose was to train them how to manage business. Many of them got out and built their own petrol station up there. If government of Uganda did the same, we need to be like that, whereby we partner, even with private sector. Another example I can give you in the country is the next. If a company employs disabled people, it gets tax deductions from all these taxes. If government of Uganda wants the youth to be employed, they will be employed. How? You want to say you employ the youth in agriculture, you will have the following. 1, tax exemption on this tax. 2, you will be given some facilities, because the youth will be working and earning a living. The tax deduction and what you're getting is bringing the young man or young lady to be employed. I can tell you, agriculture is one of the places we should invest more money, whereby we can have our youth employed. You talked about...
I knew you're running out of time. I just want you to touch on this, right? Having worked for the World Bank, Rwanda does a very good job in Nyungwe with the tea processing. How would you use that example to address that? I just want you to help us on that. That's actually a positive, because I'm listening to a lot of sense here. Rwanda is growing a lot of tea in the Nyungwe plantations, and you having worked in the World Bank, I know you use a lot of case studies. How would you use some of their examples with your experience to make the tea plantations better here?
And you're aware the Rwanda proposal, which was made by Uganda.
This is why
I'm trying to say that what Uganda is very good at writing proposals, but not good at implementing them. I am trying to tell you that this what I'm raising can be done. Tea can generate money, tea can generate jobs. Because I'm saying that when we, first of all, the tea farmers will get money. The processors will get money. The will get money. What I'm trying to say that if our target is to invest in tea, which we are putting on manifesto, those tea growing areas will be used subsidizing fertilizers, putting, you see factories when you're trying to build a factory, you go to the bank to borrow money. It's more